From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. We begin tonight in East San Jose. Friday, a community landmark and former youth center burned to the ground. Today, the Alum Rock School District called for and held an emergency vote to make sure it doesn't stay that way.
Before the blaze, the abandoned Mexican-American Community Services Agency building had fallen into disrepair, closing back in 2015. But several organizations tell us that they were on the verge of redeveloping the site because of its cultural significance. One of those advocates shared why the landmark is so important to the community.
The architecture as well, it looks like a pyramid. It represents the indigenous culture of our community. You're not going to see a building like this anywhere in the Bay Area in the middle of a neighborhood.
Now, community organizers are hoping the fire will kickstart what has become a long-delayed rebuilding of the site. John Ramos was in the South Bay today and has the story.
The loss of this building came as a shock to a lot of young Latinos who grew up coming here, and now they're asking the school board to do what it can to preserve the legacy of this place. The fire lit up the night at the youth center known simply as MACSA, short for Mexican American Community Services Agency. But for a lot of East San Jose Latino youth, it felt like home.
I was actually one of the ones to help them bring boxes over and stuff over to go into the new building.
That was in 1995, and Mauricio Perez was one of the students whose life was turned around there.
It's kind of heartbreaking, kind of, like, wow, I can't believe that, that happened. It's like watching a memorial, San Jose Memorial burn down.
The MACSA program began as a nonprofit job training site, but quickly became a safe refuge for Latino youth. It operated until 2014, when the program closed up and the property reverted back to the school district. It sat vacant and deteriorating for 10 years, so the fire only hastened the demise of the structure. On this day, the board met to pass an urgency measure that would allow demolition and cleanup to go forward.
To allow the staff to let the contracts on an emergency basis so that this work can get done, so that the site is rendered safe.
But a local activist group called Somos Mayfair appeared at the meeting, urging board members to not just bulldoze the building's remains, but to save what may be possible and commit to rebuilding the MACSA program for a new generation.
A lot of people here in the East Side, our community, we don't have a center like that where we can get our resources. We don't have a center where we can go be kids.
We need you to make a public commitment to reconstruction, to ensure the center to be rebuilt and to be safe for kids.
The kids still need a gym. They still need a library. They still need a place to go hang out and feel safe. A place for them to go when there's problems at home and problems in the streets. It can't be over yet. It cannot be over yet. And we have to do everything in our power, whether it's today or tomorrow, to get together as a community and say, here's what we got to do next.
As a program, MACSA no longer exists, and now the building is gone as well. But if any small part of it can be saved, the advocates see it as a way to keep the mission of the center still alive.
I would like to see that, hey, don't look at this as a setback. Look at this, hey, guess what? Now we can build from the ground up,
School districts don't have a lot of extra money these days, so it's hard to see what could be done. But saving any part of it would be a symbol that the program itself was worth revisiting.
Well, record travel expected across the country this Labor Day weekend, with travel and tourism in the Bay Area no exception. San Francisco already on pace to see more visitors this year, according to SF Tourism, projected to hit about 23.5 million in 2025. Consumer spending is also up, projected to come in at $9.35 billion this year. The mayor, Daniel Lurie, says the influx of visitors and cash to the Bay Area is here to stay.
SF Travel projects continued tourism sector growth in 2026. That is because convention bookings are up 50% year over year. Hotel stays are up over 50%. And we're just getting started. We got Super Bowl 60, and we have 6 World Cup matches coming over the next 12 months.
Despite the optimism, international traffic is down, with the San Francisco Travel Association saying that overnight visitors from overseas will fall about 3% from last year. Andrea?
Well, the White House has marked the three-day weekend by touting record low gas prices, saying they are at their lowest level in more than 5 years. We asked people at the pump today if they felt the difference.
It's a little higher than I was expecting. I think it was a little cheaper the last time I got gas last week, although I haven't been to this particular gas station before.
Well, right now it's $4.89 for premium, and it does seem to be a little higher than what I've seen around town at the moment, but it doesn't feel too bad. I've seen it higher. I've seen it $5 a gallon.
AAA says California's gas prices are only down about 3 cents compared to this time last year. Nationally, the decrease is about 5 times that amount.
Still, we had some nice weather across the Bay Area today, and Darren's here to tell us what's next. Darren?
Quite the warm-up which set in today, though, Brian. A lot of us were 10 degrees warmer today than we were yesterday. And if you look out the window on the virtual set, it is a bit hazy out there. Nothing crazy, air quality's fine, but there is some smoke drifting our way from some of the wildfires across the state. But the matter at hand is this one. Let's get a look at some of these numbers over here for the daytime highs today. We made it up to 100 for Livermore. Concord was at 99. We saw San Jose at 93. And it's the jump from yesterday that makes these numbers significant. You've done temperatures like this already this summer. We haven't done them a lot, but we have done them. Most of the summer has been well below average. It's not like, though, this is the first time you're doing this. But the fact that you jumped as much as you did from yesterday does bring up a mild concern on this. If you transition that quickly and you can catch a lot of people off guard, now you start thinking about some heat-related health impacts. There are no heat advisories, even with all of this. But if you look at where the heat risk concerns are on the map, some of us are getting into the moderate degree of heat-related health concerns. I'll show you what this looks like for the rest of the weekend, and I will show you where the culprit is for that haze in the sky. We'll take a look at that Garnet fire. For now, Brian, back over to you.
All righty, Darren. San Mateo County, both sides have rested their case after 10 days in a contentious and often emotional hearing to remove Sheriff Christina Corpus from office. She's been accused of having an inappropriate relationship with her chief of staff and retaliating with firings and transfers of deputies who had disagreed with her. Lauren Toms tells us what happens next.
After 2 weeks of testimony, San Mateo County Sheriff Christina Corpus took the stand one last time Friday, fighting to keep her job, with emotional testimony insisting that she's been the target of a political takedown, not a corrupt sheriff.
I've been a public servant to San Mateo County for the last 30 years with an unblemished career. I lose my job, I won't be able to support my children. I won't be able to provide services to my son who has special needs, all based on people that don't want me in office, all based on their lies.
On the stand, Corpus pushed back on witness testimony, calling several people who testified against her liars.
The false testimony that some of these, unfortunately, law enforcement officers gave. And if they're lying here, what are they doing in our communities? It brings me a lot of concern.
But in their closing arguments, the county laid out 3 grounds for removal: retaliation against staff, misconduct in the controversial arrest of Deputy Union President Carlos Tapia, and a conflict of interest involving Corpus's close relationship with longtime confidant Victor Iyenjay.
They stated that the sheriff took no responsibility nor accountability for any of the numerous examples that were shown, and stated that it is clear that she is unfit for the office and must be removed.
The county argued that even if the sheriff's relationship with her top aide wasn't romantic, it still crossed professional lines, pointing to pay raises, aggressive behavior, and special treatment. Corpus's team fired back, insisting that everything she did was within her legal authority as sheriff. The treatment, they say, is in response to her attempts to reform the sheriff's office.
The county did not prove that I did anything wrong, because as the sheriff, I can transfer people for the needs of the organization. I can make promotions, I can hire and I can fire people, yet I have everyone saying that I'm retaliating because I am doing my job that the voters of San Mateo County voted me to do.
County spokesperson Effie Miliones Verducci says that their attorneys argued Corpus has lost her way, saying she failed to take responsibility and is unfit for office.
The sheriff was elected on a platform of change that inspired the voters of this county. Nonetheless, what they said is that the evidence shows that since then the sheriff has lost her way, and that whatever vision, promise, and hope that she might have represented is gone.
Corpus calls the proceedings undemocratic and a witch hunt, but I asked her how she could rebound if the Board of Supervisors does vote to keep her in office.
By continuing to serve, protect, I will continue to come to work every day. I will continue to serve, and I will continue to hear the community members.
Retired Santa Clara County Judge James Emerson, who's presided over these proceedings, now has 45 days to make his recommendations to the Board of Supervisors, who will then have 30 days to take up a vote on the sheriff's fate. Her removal requires an overwhelming majority of at least 4 out of the 5 supervisors voting for her removal in order to strip her from her elected position.
Well, coming up, plumes of heavy black smoke rising above Oakland this afternoon. Details on a new fire now under investigation. That's coming up next. In Oakland, we are learning about a fire that pushed thick black smoke over much of East Oakland. This is video posted to the Citizen app. Oakland Fire says a debris pile had caught on fire. No word on the cause, but crews were able to prevent it from reaching a nearby warehouse, and no one was injured.
And we're doing okay on air quality from that. First of all, the window on the virtual set looks right over in that direction. We're looking out towards Oakland there. You can see the port. And we're not seeing any leftovers from the smoke. And I just looked at the air quality sensors for Oakland and the entire Bay, and we're all doing fine. Most of them are good, occasional moderate, and that would happen like any day of the week. So there might be a little bit of haze in the sky, but we're doing okay. Even though when you look at us today, this is a high-resolution satellite, and it is real-time. This is currently updating. So that's literally what we look like now from the satellite 22,000 miles up. That is smoke right there, coming off of the Garnet fire. The rest of this stuff, those are cumulus clouds building over the crest of the Sierra. Harmless, we're not really seeing much produced from them. But that is a plume of smoke, and you can actually see the shadow it is casting on the foothills there. See that gold belt right there? That's all the dried out grass along the foothills through gold country. And that smoke is starting to drift generally towards the Central Valley. We put that into the futurecast for a high-resolution smoke forecast. The deeper the shades of purple and deep red on here show you where you've got higher concentrations of smoke, and it is very localized for that fire. Let's play it forward. Watch that little stream of smoke that gets pulled out farther across the Central Valley tonight and into tomorrow. We don't really see much of that get directed overhead for the Bay, but it's close. So we might see a little more smoke off on the eastern horizon over the next 24 to 36 hours, but it doesn't look like we'd get a major impact from that. And we can play that all the way into Monday for the rest of the holiday, and we look okay, like that pattern's going to persist. All right, temperatures are clearly the story. We talked about this at the top of the newscast. Some of us jumped as much as 10 degrees today from where you were yesterday. And if you look at where you're going to be tomorrow, it's almost identical. Maybe a degree or two cooler on the daytime highs tomorrow, but not enough that you notice. So day 2 of your 3-day holiday weekend is going to feel almost exactly like today. And if you look at some of those warmer climates, the microclimates up and down 680, from 98 in Walnut Creek to 96 in Dublin and 98 in Livermore, and of course there's 101 on there for Antioch. Those are usually our trouble spots. That's where the hottest numbers are going to be. Will we get any help on the marine layer? Probably not. Maybe a few high clouds though, and you'll see that. Watch what happens on the Futurecast. When we stop this tomorrow at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, is usually when we'd be seeing the most of the marine layer, and we don't have any, at least not in the Bay. Got a little bit of it out here, but really what you're seeing are high clouds. It's kind of difficult to tell them apart when you look at it this way. But watch this shield overtake the Bay tomorrow. You may not even notice this. Those are going to be high cirrus clouds coming right through the day. That's 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They're gone by like 2 or 3. And then we look ahead to Monday morning. And for Monday, we do see a little bit of the marine layer showing up here, but it's not going to be widespread and it won't really last. So plenty of sunshine and temperature staying just about as hot on Monday. Let's go to the 7-day forecast to show you what that looks like on here. We'll start out with the inland microclimate first. And boy, it looks tough here at the start. There's your 99-degree day for Sunday. A little better on Monday, sure, but not much. Now we get to Tuesday, and it is much better. You're going to cool all the way back down into the mid-upper 80s and pretty much stay there. Much of next week does look better. You really just kind of have to get through the holiday. I mean, the timing of this spike in heat, really uncanny the way that it worked out. Turned on immediately for day 1 of the 3-day weekend, and it will turn off immediately right after day 3 of it. At least there's good news in that. All right, I'll see you with more on this coming up in the 6 o'clock newscast. Guys, back to you.
All righty, thank you, Darren. Coming up next, chaos at the CDC. How sweeping resignations at the top of the agency will impact parents' access to vaccines. It's coming up.
If you were thinking about getting a booster shot as we head into fall, you may want to do it quickly. Both Walgreens and CVS Pharmacy now say they are limiting the COVID vaccines in some states and not offering it at all in others. It's all part of major changes going on at CDC. Christian Benavides explains.
Walgreens and CVS Pharmacy are limiting access to the COVID vaccine as the companies attempt to follow state guidance that require approvals from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Rebecca Adams is an editor with the KFF Health News.
Vaccines would be available for people who are 65 and older or have at least one medical condition, and healthy people could still potentially get the shots if a doctor prescribes it.
It comes amid recent fallout at the agency after top CDC officials resigned, accusing Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of trying to erode public trust in vaccines.
CDC is being weaponized.
Dimitri Daskalakis and Deb Howery told CBS News that an influential outside panel handpicked by RFK Jr. has been questioning long-settled science on vaccines and promoting unvetted studies.
Based on discussions we had heard, it seemed like some decisions had been made before there was even the data or the science to support those.
The allegations have alarmed Republican Senator and Dr. Bill Cassidy, who warned this week that any recommendations made by the group should be rejected as lacking legitimacy.
CDC is an agency that is very troubled for a very long time.
But the White House has defended RFK Jr., whose agency overhaul, he says, will make America healthy again.
Secretary Kennedy has been a crown jewel of this administration.
CDC sources say the agency's director was fired this week after she refused to sign off on changes to the vaccine policy.
Promise not to change vaccine review standards.
Also in Washington, President Trump pouring cold water on a possible bilateral meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin. Willie James Inman has the latest and details on another twist in the legal battle over Trump's tariffs.
Here today.
Less than 2 weeks after meeting at the White House with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, and after repeated vows to push for a meeting between Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin.
And they should meet, I think, before I have a meeting and probably close the deal.
President Trump now says a bilateral meeting between Putin and Zelensky is unlikely to occur. He made the remarks Friday during an interview with the Daily Caller. The president also said during the interview that a trilateral meeting will happen without specifying when. The president's comments come as the leaders of Germany and France met this week to discuss Ukraine. French President Emmanuel Macron said Russia's President Putin would be duping President Trump if he fails to commit by Monday to meet with Zelensky. Members of the Trump administration insist the president is doing all he can to end the war.
President Trump inherited President Biden's war, and he's working steadfastly to end the killing, and that's something that everyone in the world should celebrate.
In other global news, the Trump administration faced a setback on Friday after a federal appeals court ruled that most of President Trump's tariffs are illegal. According to the ruling, the law the president invoked when he handed down reciprocal tariffs does not explicitly give him the power to do so. The court's decision does not go into effect until mid-October, allowing time for an appeal. In a statement, Attorney General Pam Bondi called the decision wrong and said the DOJ would appeal the case to the Supreme Court.
Coming up, a brand new $2 million field empty for the team's season opener.
Remember, we all came here and we walked on the field. We're like, bro, this can't be real.
How Mount Diablo High is using a fire to inspire their title defense this season. In the East Bay, the lights burned a little bit brighter for one school's home opener actually being played away from home. But players, coaches, and the community all tell me it won't derail their quest to defend last year's league title.
It's hella hot. Oh my God.
It's game day for quarterback Michael Vasquez. He's going through his normal pregame routine, checking his gear, putting on his cleats, and getting his pads on to play in the home opener. While this ritual hasn't changed, the field he should be stepping on has. This is where the Mount Diablo Red Devils were supposed to play, on their brand new $2 million turf field that now has a huge burn scar on their logo at the 50-yard line.
Remember, we all came here and we walked on the field. We're like, bro, this can't be real.
Instead of playing on their new field, the Red Devils kicked off their home opener at their rivals' turf in Concord High School. The message at practice this week, it doesn't matter where they play, but how they play.
Just don't let that deteriorate what we got going on. Don't let that affect us. I mean, we've been the same team from summertime to now, so a field doesn't change who we are. So just keep on building and building to get to now.
Principal Dr. Markel McCain was on hand to watch his team take the field.
It's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot of media coverage.
Dr. McCain says after what the team faced, he was just happy to see the boys play the game they love. He doesn't know exactly when their home field will reopen, but it's been a big loss, not just for the football team.
That field is a community field. You know, it's not just for the students and the athletes. It's, you know, the community uses it.
Police are looking into who may have set the fire. Michael Vasquez has his own suspicions. No matter who's responsible, Vasquez says he has to focus on the big picture.
You just got to move past it, and because there's bigger things like today. We have our first game of the week, so we can't really let stuff like that affect us, especially because everything's going to happen. That team still has their field, so everything's just going to move on, so we got to move on with it.
And that's going to do it for us at 5. We'll see you back here for another hour of news at 6. CBS Weekend News is next. We'll see you in 30 minutes.